Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another amazing show. So, we're excited to be back. And this is going to be one show that is just going to transform your life. That I can guarantee you. And do me a favor when you join in, I want you to share. I have three phones here. So, I'm beginning to share. So, before we get started, before we go, before we get going, I want to see you guys share and invite people. I know this is tagged towards the men, but ladies, you need to sit in, and take, the wisdom. And then also do me a favor, tag the men in your life, brothers, husbands, booze, everybody, everybody, husbands, especially because you definitely, in fact, you need to actually say, I'll buy you a drink if you sit and listen. Because once he sits here and gets the wisdom, he's just gonna move out and just change the game. So what you just need to make sure is that he is out here seated and listening to the wisdom on this show. I can see you guys joining it. Do me a favor, put your comments, let me know what city, what country you are joining in. I want to see what city, what country, as we are sharing. Before I introduce he's not even my guest, so before I introduce him, so do me a favor, I'm sharing as well so that we can have as many people. I like to say, let's make wisdom sexy. So let's do this, because especially our continent, needs this wisdom. I have a lot of things to say about Africa and our people. So do me a favor. Hey, my brother Sammy, good to see you. Welcome. I see you joining in. Thank you. I see all of you guys joining in. This is great. This is great. We're talking about the making of a visionary man. So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. So I'm just sharing and inviting in people. So let's join in. I'm just trying to share. So if you're joining in, what city? Peterson, what's happening? This is good to have all of you guys. Do me a favor, share. Share. This is all somebody needs out there. So I'm just trying to share with everybody so that they can come in and we can have a great time. You know, how's it going? How's the day going for every one of you? When I'm done sharing, we're gonna get started. So where's hey, what's happening? Good to have all of you guys. I see your comments. Type out your comments. I see a lot of you guys joining in, but you're not sharing your, you know, I'm not saying you share and invite people. I want to see as many shares out there before I get started. I'll protest if you guys don't share and invite people. So because if a lot of us are growing in wisdom and becoming better people, it means our communities and our circles are becoming better. So you know so let's do this. Let's do this. All right, so who's in the house? Who's in the house? I'm Beatrice. What's happening? Good to have Ghana is in the house. What's happening, people? Ghana is in the house. Who else is in the house? Let's have you guys join in and be part of it. All right, so this is an amazing show that we're gonna have. Hey, South Africa's in the house. What's happening, Mishama? Good to have you. Good to have you. When I say I just remembered our conversation, but I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna leave the prophets alone. So today we're just gonna talk about. Actually, I'm so tempted. Dr. Jemmy, what's
Yes,
happening? To see you.
it's awesome to be here, Coach. Any opportunity I get to be on your platform to serve you is a privilege. And so I'm excited about tonight. And you'll be the first to testify. When you asked me to do something, how long did it take before I agreed? I said straight away, let's make it
In a
happen.
twinkling of an eye.
Yes, yes.
No,
Um,
it's always a joy. I think the last one we did was so powerful. You know,
Wonderful.
PJ, it's amazing if a lot of people did put in practice the things, the wisdom that you just were dropping on that one. I don't know whether you remember, but you say it better. It's an evil thing. You say it better. Please say it. I know we're not talking about relationships today. We're talking business.
Okay.
But say just give them a demo.
I'll say it. So it is an evil thing for a man to take a woman, give her his last name, and for her to depreciate on his watch.
Repeat again in broken English from Africa. Break it down. Repeat. Say it again and then just break it down. I just want to hear it again.
It is an evil thing for a man to take a woman,
Mhm.
give her his last name, and for that woman to depreciate on his watch. It means when you give a woman your last name, the responsibility is a very, very big responsibility. She must become better, not bitter. She must become amazing. She must become the very best that God created her to become. And if you fail to do that, then you have been derelict in your duty. And it is an indictment of you as a man. So the level, it's about levels, coach. It's not about maleness, it's
Yeah.
about manhood. And those are two different things, and you know
Now that's another conversation. I don't know.
that.
That's another conversation. That was an amazing. So, ladies, I think if you missed, go and look for it, and then we're gonna talk about it. So I know you are 2 hours ahead of me. You are in Dubai.
Yes.
And you live around different cities. And today we're talking about the making of a visionary man. You
Mhm.
and the reason why we were just having a conversation the other day, and the reason why I said let's do this conversation is because I am blessed to sit with you and your wife and have conversations in the private space. And every time I hear you talk about powerful things, I insist and I say, hey, let's take it public. Let's do this thing. Let's help people, because I benefit and I'm blessed because it stretches me. When you guys moved during COVID times, when you guys moved from the United Kingdom, it was just like a dream that you moved from the United Kingdom and you went to Dubai. I've seen you transitions, I've seen you guys build excellent stuff. You've been married for, man, look, I can't, it's even heavy for me to even talk about how long you've been married and your kids. And I think it's also part of the vision that I want us to talk about, because I
Sure.
see you carry the weight, and I'm not saying they're weight, but I see you carry your family, your wife, your amazing kids, uni and all of those things. And now tell me, how do you do so many things? 1 minute you're in the United Kingdom, you say, hey, let's move from here, let's go and live in Dubai, let's start up businesses in Dubai, and let's begin to do all these things. So you're in between the United Kingdom and Dubai, and now you're buying up businesses in different parts of the world. Here's one thing, I'm going to say this, I didn't want to go to this conversation. One day we need to have a conversation with our African people.
Mhm.
It's amazing that people will miss an event like this to listen to this wisdom. You would do a seminar on setting up businesses and buying businesses, they won't show up, but they'll go
Mhm.
and look for a prophet somewhere there and empty all their savings to be able to get a blessing, a miracle in 24/7, but they won't invest the time. It's taken you tears, it's taken you tough nights. You are a man of God. But I mean, I can't even tell us a bit about yourself. I mean, you got so many, you got so much stuff under your belt. Let me not even reduce it. Tell us about yourself and all these journeys that you've been able to walk through.
Coach, thank you so much. Again, I just want to appreciate you for allowing me onto your platform. For me, this has been a wonderful journey. You and me and my wife and my family, you're somebody that we respect greatly. You are part of our family. And that's why I said at the very beginning, it's an opportunity. Whenever you ask me to do anything, if it is in my power to do it, I will do it. And, that's why tonight it's 8 o'clock here in Dubai. Yeah, I've had a full day, but I said, you know what? For the next hour, I'm going to spend time with my brother and with everybody who's on this platform, and I'm going to do the very best that I can to impact your lives so that your lives genuinely will never be the same
Yeah.
again. For me, whenever I get an opportunity to speak to people, one of the things that you will see more and more consistently as we move forward is the integrity of what I say and the authenticity of what I say. Because you see, what I've come to understand is a lot of people, when they're given an opportunity to speak, they don't tell people the truth. So they only tell them the nice bits. And so the problem is when you just tell people the nice bits, they don't know how to handle the difficult times when the difficult times come. And so my assignment today is not for you to look at me and by the time we're done to look at me and say, man, this man is amazing. But if you come off this platform and you say, you know what, I can do this, I can become better, I can have better, I can really serve God's purposes in my generation and leave a tremendous mark, then I will have done my job. So for me, this is, Coach, you talk about who I am. I always start with the important bits first. First of all, I'm a child of God. I call myself God's hosepipe, because I learned a long time ago that I am just a connection between the source, who is God, and the people. And that doesn't just relate to the wisdom that God has put in my heart, but it also relates to the resources that he has put into my hands. My job is to water and feed God's people as he gives me the inspiration and the instruction. Secondly, I'm married to a woman called Sarah. I've been married to Sarah for 28 years. It's amazing. I don't even know where the time went, And the first time I met Sarah, I was 14 years old and she was 13. And here we are, all these years later. We've had tremendous journeys together. It's been an amazing time. We've got 4 children. My eldest child now, my son, is 26. You can imagine. So I've got a 26-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 13-year-old, and an 11-year-old. Four children. It's a blessing.
Wow.
In terms of my background, I became a lawyer, in 1996. And then from there, I qualified. I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Secretaries. I'm a chartered governance professional. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an investor. Like Coach was saying, we run multiple businesses now, but most importantly, we are now in the space where we are not starting businesses, but we are buying businesses. And so we are buying businesses on a global scale. Anything between $1 million that does between $1 million turnover to 50 million, that is our target range. And we're looking at businesses in that range to buy them so that we can scale them and that we can use that leverage to do even better things. And so, what I wanted to talk to you about today, Coach, if you will allow me, is, today's message is entitled The Power of a Visionary Man. Because one of the things that I needed you to understand, there's going to be a few lessons that I'm going to share with you. But the most important thing that I want to share with you today is, as I started off by saying, is the importance of authenticity. So when I tell you the story, you can take it to the bank. I'm not going to compromise it. I'm not going to tell you the nice parts. I'm going to tell you what really happened. And I learned that lesson from a man called Richard Branson, because many years ago, I read his autobiography. And it was the first time that I'd read a book by a man where he told it like it was. A lot of times, like when you read people's autobiographies, they tell you, like I said, they tell you the nice parts, but they don't tell you the difficult parts. They don't tell you the challenges. And the moment I read that book, I said to myself, I'm going to be very authentic in what I share because I want to get people to be genuinely free. So let me tell you where this story starts. In 2012, we visited Coach in Zambia. That's the last time that I visited the wonderful nation of Zambia. I love that nation. I love the people of Zambia. And it was quite interesting because Coach is not even aware of that. But at that particular time, we were in the midst of a tremendous crisis. And what's interesting is that crisis resulted in the next 2 years, us being homeless 8 times in 2 years. We lost our businesses, we lost our homes, we had properties all throughout the United Kingdom. We lost the homes, we lost our business, we lost everything. And it was all of us, 6 of us, me, my wife, and 4 children, and this is what was happening. Now, if any of you have ever gone through a difficult time, you've got to understand that that's the time when, number one, you become familiar with who you really are, but you also become familiar with who is around you. Because that's when people reveal themselves to you. And so you can imagine, 1 minute, I'm just moving this light, Coach, because I can see it in my eyes, sorry. Okay. 1 minute, you are doing very well. You live in a prime piece of real estate. You're driving nice cars. Your children go to private school. And then before you know it, you've lost everything. And then people start telling you about you. They say, you see what it is about you. We thought that you were you thought you were special. Look at you now. Look at what you've got nothing. The nice thing about losing everything is that the only way is up. And I remember, you see, the thing that I need you to understand as I'm talking to you today, somebody will say, so what exactly happened? To me, what happened is not as much important as what I did with what happened. Are you with me? Because Winston Churchill put it like this. He said, the price of greatness is responsibility. One of the reasons why people do not succeed in life is because they always want to blame somebody for where they are or what has happened to them. You see, the reason why I'm where I am is because my business partner did this, my ex-wife did this, my pastor did this, the government did this. I realized that you can never become truly great until you own where you are and you own your mistakes in getting you to where you were. So now can you imagine, I am in a position where I have nothing, zero. I'm taking my wife through this situation. I'm with my wife and my children in this situation. And I remember one day we were in the nation of South Africa and my wife came to me and she asked me a question. She said to me, Jamie, what exactly is your vision for this family? Because you're not in a good place. What's going on? And that was a difficult question to be asked by a woman who I'd been married to at that time. I think we'd been married just maybe 21, 22 years. And she said, what is the vision for this family? So I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, my gosh, this is not what you are supposed to be doing. This is not what you promised this woman when you married her. Because you see, that's where that whole statement of it's an evil thing for you to take a woman, give her your last name, and for her to depreciate on your watch. That's where it came out of. Because I said to myself, this woman, when I met her, I made so many promises to her. I said, I'm going to give you a great life. I'm going to give you the best life possible because you're a great woman. And she stood by me and she stuck by me. But look at where we are right now. It bears no resemblance to where I had promised that we would be. And so instead of pointing fingers at anybody, instead of pointing fingers at the economy, instead of pointing fingers at the government, instead of pointing fingers at any man, I said no. Because when you point fingers at somebody else, you disempower yourself. You give them the power. You see, so I said to myself, no, I'm not giving anybody the power anymore. I am going to own where I am and take responsibility for where I am, and then I'm going to change where I am. So I took my family and I gathered them around the table in the house that we were living at that time. It wasn't a great house. It was a 3-bedroom property and there's 6 of you. If you've ever had teenage children, it's a horrible thing to share a bathroom with a teenager. I want to tell you, it's horrible. And so we're living in this property. It's not a nice house. Are you with me? But I said to my family, I said, guys, here's what's going to happen. In fact, coach, even before then, before we moved into that house, I had to move into my parents' house for 6 weeks. Imagine leaving my parents' house. I left my parents' house when I was 21 years old, and then I moved in when I was 40 years old. I moved back in. And I remember that particular time, this is 19 years later, and I remember that particular time, they, not just them, but even within my family, you could see it. People are looking at you, and some are laughing, some are shocked, they're amazed. But I said to my family the day that we were sat around the table, and I said to them, guys, I want to tell you something. We are not going to be in this position for much longer. It's going to take me about 3 years. But in 3 years' time, I will rebuild everything that we had by the grace of God, and we are going to be even better than where we were. I said to them, don't worry about what people are saying. Because you see, these people who are talking right now, in 3 years, we will leave them in their dust. And they won't in our dust, and they won't even know how it happened. They're going to have to start looking at themselves and say, but hang on, we saw this guy when he came, and he had nothing. How did he manage to build it and still run past us, and we are still where we used to be? I said, because that's the power of a vision. I remember one time speaking to my family. I spoke to my wife and my son, and I said to them, guys, so here's what you need to understand. If you go out there and you get this job, and you, Sarah, go out there and get this job, then I get this job. If we put all of our money together, we'll have enough money to do what we need to do. Every time I had that conversation with my family, it was like they couldn't hear what I was saying. And I remember one time I was getting so upset. I said, guys, can't you see what's going on? You do this, you do this. I'll earn the bulk of the money. But then you guys just go and earn this little money. And we had that conversation, I think 3, 4, 5 times. But each time it was like I was talking nonsense. They couldn't understand. And then the day that God spoke to me clearly, and he said, the reason why your family are not responding to what you are saying is because your vision is too small. Are you seriously telling me that you cannot create a vision that is big enough to embrace all of your family? So I sat down and I began to think about it. I said, okay, fine. How much money am I asking these people to bring into the house anyway? Can I not create a vision that will bring even more money? And that's the day when I said, right, I'm going to build a multi-million-pound business from that day. And coach, I can tell you, within 3 years, we had built 2 multi-million-pound businesses. Wow. I remember the day we moved out of that house and we moved into a property where, you know, it's amazing. When we had moved into that house initially, the couch that we were sitting on, coach, it was a second-hand 150-pound couch, second-hand, rubbish, terrible, nothing nice in the home. But I remember the day we moved into our new home. Sarah said to me, when we move from here, we have to move into the kind of home that most people in England can't even imagine living in.
Wow.
And she put it on our fridge. She said, when we move from this 3-bedroom house, I want to move into an 8-bedroom house. And I want a house with a swimming pool. That's what I want in England, where it's cold. I don't care if it's cold 9 months of the year, but I want a swimming pool. And coach, we moved into that home. And you know, when I think about the amount of money that we generated, and then I began to see how God had to change my mindset, you know, from a mindset of poverty and a mindset of lack. Because you know, when you've gone through difficult times, sometimes it takes time for you to recover mentally. Are you with me? Because you're not used to having money. I remember going into Harrods with Sarah, because one time I bought Sarah a bag for 150 pounds. And some of her friends laughed at her bag and said, look at this.
I didn't see your wife is on. She's
on there, so she can also testify to what I'm saying.
The comment, she says, Coach, I was so depressed to work.
I was too depressed. She couldn't work. And coach, I remember, you know, I bought her for her birthday, I bought her a Ralph Lauren bag for 150 pounds. That was all the money that I had at that particular time. And so one of her friends was laughing at her and saying, this bag is just a useless bag. I mean, what kind of bag is this? Then I said to her, Sarah, I said, don't worry, Sarah, I'm going to take you, one day I'll take you to Harrods and you'll buy all the designer bags that you want. Then I remember the day we went into Harrods for the first time to buy the first bag. And coach, I must be honest, my mind was still not renewed. I had the money, but my mind was still not renewed. And I went into that shop and I think the bag was like $5,000 US, you know? And I said, oh my gosh, I can't spend $5,000 on a bag. What kind of nonsense? So I did what my broke mind at that time educated me to do. And I created a fight with her because I was hoping if I can fight with her, then she won't buy the bag. So now we're in Harrods and I'm fighting with my wife. You can imagine. And then I said to her, I said, no. And then eventually she was getting upset. She said, okay, I don't even want the bag. Then I said, no problem. Now I've decided I need to buy that bag. So we bought the bag. We walked out of Harrods with a $5,000 bag. And then it was easy for the next time for us to go into that shop and buy another bag. Coach, it took us within a period of less than a year. We had to change the insurance on our home because of all the designer bags that she had. Are you understanding me?
Wow, this is deep.
And this was a product of me understanding that if anything was to change, I had to change. It was me.
If anything had to change, you had to change.
I had to change. I had to look at myself and say the vision is too small. Right now, that vision that I'm telling you about, the businesses that we are building, my children work in those businesses. My entire family works in those businesses, and those businesses are producing wealth today. Are you with me? So what I understood, when you talk about the power of a visionary man, I understood that if it was really to be, it was up to me. I had to do something different. I had to be a different kind of man. I had to be the kind of man who stepped out of my comfort zone.
Kind of man.
I had to be different, coach. I had to step out of my comfort zone and do big things because only big things were going to bring us out of where we were. You see, a job was not going to do it. A small thing was not going to do it. We had to build something so big that it would produce wealth, not just for my family, but it would produce wealth for many, many other people besides. And you know, it was so fascinating for me, Coach, because as a result of that vision, we started reaching out and we started doing work all over the world. We started sponsoring people in Africa. We started sponsoring people in South America. We started going out there and finding how to use these resources that God had given us to bless all of humanity. Because it was not enough for me just to be fruitful and enjoy within my small circle, but I had to be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the entire earth. So the size of my vision was going to determine how much God could bless me. Are you with me? You see, because one thing I've come to understand, Coach, is the God that we see is the God that we will receive from. I learned a long time ago that we don't all see the same God. We don't see God at the same level. You see, some people, when they see God, they can only receive a small amount. That's why when I went into Harrods that day, I had to break that paradigm that said spending $5,000 on a bag is too much money. Because there were bags in Harrods for $50,000. But my mind was not, I had to break the 5,000. It was a mental block in my mind. You see, I had never, Coach, up until that time, I had never bought a car for cash. I'd always, you know, if I bought a car for cash, it was always a second-hand car. I'd never gone into a dealership to buy a car for cash and to have the brand new, without a debt, without anyone phoning me and saying, now you need to pay this. There was nothing to pay on the car. I had never done that. But in this time, God had to break that out of me. Because how do you go into to owning a plane if you can't own a car? That's what I wanted to understand. And you see what's so interesting? Let me tell you why my vision and me becoming a visionary was so important. Because my two younger children, Coach, the first time that I ever got onto a business class flight is when I was in my 30s. You know, the day that I remember when we were in the midst of everything that we were going on, my wife said to me one day, she said, Jamie, I will never get onto an economy class flight again. Never. And at the time that she said it, we didn't have any money, zero. But that day, something broke in our spirits, and we said, you see, because, you know, this is something that I must accredit to my wife. My wife said something. She said, until you are disgusted with where you are, you will never change. Because as long as you can tolerate it, as long as you are comfortable with it, as long as you are comfortable eating substandard food, you know, when you go into a restaurant, Coach, and you just eat based on because you see, you look on the menu, then you go to the right-hand side of the menu to look at the price. That's where you choose what you're going to eat. You say, oh, what am I going to eat today? Chicken. Not because you want chicken, but that's because chicken is cheap on the menu. I said, that kind of thing, it's not right. So my wife said to me, she said, no, I'm never going to fly economy class again. And you know what that meant? The vision had to become even bigger. So imagine the day when my son, who is 10 now, that he said, I can't go into an economy class flight either. So now I said, okay, fine. I have to create a vision that is big enough for my 13-year-old daughter, my 11-year-old son now, for him to be able to get onto a flight and fly business class at his age, which is something that I did when I was in my 30s and my parents have not done to this day, and they're in their 70s. Because I understood that I had to break the power of poverty, and I had to break the paradigm of us accepting substandard, average, and mediocre. It was not going to happen unless I did something about it. You see, so from that day, Coach, I can tell you for a fact, as a family, we all fly minimum business class. The family know it. My children say we won't get onto a flight unless it's business class. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to boast. There's nothing. If I boast in any way, it's to the glory of God. But I tell you something. Something had to break. Something in me had to say, this standard that we are living is not good enough. It doesn't glorify God. We talk about this big God. We talk faith. I walk by faith and I walk by sight. But my results were not speaking to that level. Are you understanding? So the thing that I need you to understand, and I'm hoping that as I'm talking to the men that are on this platform, there are things that I need you to understand about how this economy that
The
we
women
work
are
in.
actually more active. Can you
That's
imagine that
good.
the
And
women are
I
more
hope
active?
I hope this is blessing them, because ladies, you see, the thing that you must understand as well, for us as men, when the thing that really blessed me was when my wife gave me the right to be the man that I could be. But I also realized that with great
Say that
power,
again. Say that again. Say that
you
again.
know, my wife came to me and she said, this is what she did. I want to explain the process of what she did. She came to me one day and she said, Jamie, I had a vision of you. And I said, what was the vision? She said, I saw you in a
I know.
dream.
So,
Yes, coach.
sorry, PJ guys. If you have any question, type them out. I don't even want to interrupt, but I know there's a bit of a lag. I don't know whether we need to refresh. Is it possible to refresh on your end, PJ? I think there was a bit of a lag. Like,
I see. How do I refresh, coach?
so you're using a browser, is it like a?
Yes.
Yeah. So just refreshing. I think there was a bit of a delay. I don't know whether it's your internet or my internet. I always suspect my internet all the time. So
Let me see. I want to make sure, because I think my internet is fine. Is there still a delay?
Oh, there's no lie. Okay, great. It's okay. Oh, there's
Are we
no.
good
Okay, so
now?
you can go on. Yeah, that's cool. You can go on. You can go
Excellent.
on. Yeah.
So, coach,
You
my
guys are
wife
too
comes to
quiet.
me.
And I know that men are saying we are here, coach. No, that's you need to lead. You need to type your comments. You need to ask your questions. The women are the ones just throwing all the questions, throwing on their questions and their comments. I don't just want the men to be seated. The men need to lead. You have to be. This is your conversation. You need to make sure. Please go on, PJ. Go on.
So, coach, my wife comes to me and she says, I had a dream about you. And I saw a dream. And in this dream, it was like you were like a lion. And you stood up and you shook your mane and you began to walk. Then
Yeah.
I said, you need to send me what, show me. She said, I'm going to send you a picture off the internet of what I saw. She sent me a picture of a lion. And you know that lion, if you look at any of our houses, so if you go to our house in London, you will see there's now a picture. We got an artist to commission that lion and it's on the wall. If you right here in our home in Dubai, we commissioned another one because you see, you always reproduce after what you see. You see, when you wake up in the morning and you see that lion on the wall, it just does something to you inside you. It just says, this is who I am. You see, because I'm in the mold of the Lion of the tribe of Judah, but there's something about physically seeing it that is a game changer. So we put it on the wall. And you know, that day, something in me said, I must do better. And I spoke to my wife and I said, Sarah, this ship will not go down on my watch. You see, because for me, the fact that you trust me, the fact that you believe in me, I will do whatever it takes to make sure that we succeed. I'll do whatever it takes because I cannot. You see, coach, I'll even say it to you like this. I said, how can I have a good woman, a woman who fears God, a woman who's running after God, and I give her a substandard life compared to some of these loose women who are out there who are sleeping with 5, 6 different men? This good woman, the good kind of life. I said, how can I do that? How can I do that? What kind of a man does that? It's not acceptable. The standard had got to be much, much higher. I spoke to my wife and I said, Sarah, I'll do whatever it takes. I will go out there. We're going to build this business from scratch. We'll build multiple businesses. And we did it. You know, it's amazing to me that when you set your mind to something and when you trust God and when you are, you see, because when you've gone through trouble, the fear disappears. You know, most people, when they go through difficult times, it's like it immobilizes them. You see, they get to the stage where they say, no, I can't do anything. And you know that sometimes as well, the biggest challenge that we have as men is when we're in a place of comfort. Because coach, you know, I remember last year when everybody is complaining and they're talking about, oh, you know, there's the pandemic and there's this and this. You know, I went into my office the day that they announced the lockdown in the United Kingdom. I went into my office and I began to write a vision, a 10-year vision for my family. So I put, because it was 2020, then I put us through that vision into 2030. Then I printed 6 copies of that vision and I went to my family and I said, you see this vision here? Guys, everybody's worried about dying with COVID and everything, but us as a family, we cannot die because we're already in 2030. Are you with me? So I don't know what is going to happen. I don't know what is going to happen, but for me, I know we are already in 2030. Right now, we're in 2021, but we're already in 2030 because that vision, that's what vision does. Vision transports you into the future. Vision makes you not look at the things that are around you. I remember with that coach, that 150-pound couch that we were sitting on. I said to Sarah, don't worry. In a few months, you will be able to buy you can spend as much money as you want on your couches. It's not even an issue. And she bought couches that were so big, they wouldn't even fit in that 3-bedroom house. So we had to move. Are you understanding? So, wow. So the thing I need you to understand is the reason why it happens because we are people of faith. It is because we refuse to fear, because fear immobilizes you. It immobilizes you. I said, Coach, nobody can put an amount and say to me, you are only qualified to earn this amount of money per year. I said, who has the right to do that? God has not put any limits on me. Who can put those limits on me? I said, my mind, I must be able to conceive millions of pounds flowing in my bank account. That because if I can conceive it, then I can have it. I must not become comfortable. You see, Coach, can I say something to you? When the pandemic was raging, I said, no, whilst other people are sitting there, we must even up the ante. You know, whilst other people are sitting worrying and they're anxious, Coach, I did 2 more master's degrees during the pandemic, 2 of them.
Come on,
in the midst of the pandemic, in less than 2 years, in 18 months, I did two additional master's degrees. I think I'm now on degree number 6. Because I said, whilst all of this is happening, we must do more. Whilst people are worried, I remember the day we said, because we must expand our business. We're doing well, we're in the United Kingdom, but we need to go and break new territory. Let's go into the Middle East. Let's create a base in the Middle East. Let's create a base that will then feed into Africa. It will feed into the Middle East. It will feed into Asia. Because you see, our vision was not for we're not trying to be localized champions, Coach. We're trying to be global superstars because that's what God has created us to be. That's the DNA that is coursing through our veins. You know, Sarah always says this, and I love it. She said, "There's no slave in my blood. There's no slave in my blood." We were not created to be anybody's slave. We were not created to be anybody's lackey. So we said, you know what? Whatever we are doing, it must become bigger than us so that we can transform lives. And right now, like you rightly said, Coach, we are in the game of buying businesses, not just here in the Middle East. Right now, we are focused on buying businesses wherever. We'll buy businesses in Zambia. We'll buy businesses in America. We'll buy business because there's so much opportunity. When others are saying there's a casting down, we are saying there's a lifting up. When others are saying, you know what? Things are, it's impossible, you know, tighten your belt. We're saying, no, we are loosening our belt and we are going out there and we're going to find more and more opportunity. But what I want to say to the men today, because the idea is for you to understand something. Coach, when I began to understand the importance of taking ownership, I owned where I was. I owned the fact that I was behind on my promises. I owned the fact that I love that commitments to my family and I was not living up to them. I owned the fact that I had disappointed them. And I said, no, I need to fix this. And you see, can I tell you something that I've been telling anybody who will listen? Over the weekend, we were speaking to the Methodist Church, Sarah and I. We spoke to about 300-400 people on a Zoom call. And we were talking to the men and the women. At the beginning of the week, I was talking to some guys, about 70 people from, you know, a massive Swiss company, just speaking to their leadership and just encouraging them and telling them about vision and the power of taking responsibility. You see, this is what I understood. That the thing that qualifies you for promotion is when you master the art of management. So it doesn't matter where you are. You must learn
Say that
to
again.
manage. Okay.
Say that.
So the thing that qualifies you for promotion is when you master the art of management. You have to learn to manage what you have. And when you learn how to manage what you have, that's what qualifies you to go to another level. You
Man.
See? So I
Church
said,
people don't want to hear that. Church people don't want to hear that.
Because we think that promotion comes because we know how to sow a seed. Promotion comes because we know how to go and Papa says you are promoted. It doesn't work like that. Promotion comes because you qualify. You demonstrate capacity. You demonstrate ability. He who is faithful with little will be blessed with much. So when you become faithful with 10 kwacha, then you qualify for 100 kwacha. When you qualify for 100, then you're 1,000, 1,000,000, 10 million, 100 million. That's how the system works. So I understood something, that I would never point fingers at anybody, number one, but I would also master the ability of managing what I had so that I could qualify for more. And so you see, the thing that I need to speak to the men about today, like I said at the very beginning, never point your fingers at anybody. No, everybody, let me tell you something. Everybody has had something happen to them that is negative. I'm telling you, if you are alive, if you've been alive longer than 10 minutes, you've had a negative experience happen to you. I have some friends in the United Kingdom, dear friends. And I remember one day they came to our house and they were sharing the story of, during the 2008 recession, they had some reverses. So in the United Kingdom, there's a bank that was called Northern Rock. And Northern Rock, it ended up going under as a bank. And because it ended up going under, these guys lost their home. And we were having this conversation in 2020, and they were talking about it. And when they were talking about it, it's like the emotions were so raw and they were so real. And I was looking at them. And I felt empathy for where they were. But then I said to them, guys, do you understand something? That every single person has had a Northern Rock experience. Everybody. Everybody has had something happen to them that is negative. It's not what happens to you that matters. It's what you do with what happens. So I said, the problem is you have camped around your Northern Rock experience. It happened 12 years ago. It happened 12 years ago. But it's like it happened yesterday. And it has immobilized you. You can never move if you don't accept that this thing has happened and I need to move forward. So I said to them, everybody has had a Northern Rock experience. Everybody has had a loved one pass away. Everybody has lost a job. Maybe some people have become bankrupt. Everybody has had something negative. Maybe some of you have lost a child. Maybe you've lost whatever it is. Something negative has happened to you. It's not what happens to you. It's what you do with what happens to you. For me, I use every negative as motivation and as fuel. When I'm lying in my bed and I've committed to waking up at 5:30 in the morning, and every fiber of my being is saying, you can't wake up, just rest 5 more minutes. All I need to do is I need to remember the negatives. I need to remember the people who are laughing at me and saying, you will never make it. And I just get all of the motivation that I need to jump out of bed and start running. Because I use it as fuel and not to start parking. Because I refuse to let anybody write my epitaph before I'm dead. You see, the Bible says it is better to be a living dog than a dead lion. So as long as there's breath in my body, I said, as long as I'm alive, no one is burying me. I still have capacity. I still have ability. I must just go out there and do something about it. But let me speak to the men very quickly, Coach, because I don't want to continue for too long. The thing that we must understand as men is that the biggest problem that we have in our generation, Coach, is that we fail to understand that when you are going to build anything of significance, it begins with building yourself. You see, this is why I don't like activism. When I use the word activism, I'm talking about people who like to go out there they've always got an agenda. It might be Black Lives Matter. It might be climate change. There's always something that they're active about. I don't like activism because activism always puts the blame and the responsibility outside there.
Yes, sir.
But
yes, sir.
Ownership is looking inside yourself and saying, I have to build myself. If there's a problem, it's me. So one of the things that I learned from my experience, I realized that my system was flawed because I had whatever I had put in place was not strong enough to ring fence my family financially. Wow. So I remember years ago in 2011, Coach, we invited the billionaire Peter J. Daniels to our church. And he gave me a conqueror's code of conduct. And there's a variety of things on there, but three of the things that are on there that really stuck out for me. Number one,
Yeah.
he spoke about the importance of fidelity in marriage. You see, for me, I said, I will never ever cheat. Ah, there we go. You remember? Coach, well done. Oh man, that's awesome. You still got it. That's wonderful.
I got it right here.
That's wonderful. He told me about the importance of fidelity in marriage. That's the reason why I said to my wife, Sarah, there's never any day that you will go to sleep and you will be insecure because you think I'm looking and I have designs on another woman. It's not possible. Till the day I die or till the day that I'm raptured in the clouds with that man called Jesus Christ, there's no woman alive who can take your place. It's impossible. And then I began to understand. Sorry, Coach.
We need to create a conference right there.
I got you.
You know, PJ, and sometimes when I say those exact words, a lot of people feel like you are trying so hard to impress these women. And this is one of the things, I hate to interrupt you, but that's a conversation a lot of men are struggling with, especially African men with our big egos. I am seeing a lot of Christian men that are beauty, and people feel like Steady is petty. There are certain men have said, I know you've got money, you're killing it in the business, but I don't like your lifestyle. These are guys that show up in church, they lift up their hands, they love God, but behind closed doors, they do the most unbelievable stuff, especially when it comes in their marriages, in their relationships. I've said to God, in fact, the past weeks, I've just been very intentional to break away from relationships that I've had over the years with certain people. I said to myself, Steady, you can't do this thing in the name of brotherly love, in the name of I've been with these people for a long time. You know, there are certain people I don't even want to bring on my platforms, and not because I'm trying to prove a point that I'm holier than that. I'm flawed, but I said I shall be authentic with everything that I do. And the fact that you brought that conversation, I know it's going to be a topic. It needs to be an independent topic. Sure. Because a lot of men are losing because they are losing with their women at home.
Correct.
You're losing in business. You're losing in everything that you're doing because you're losing with the woman you're supposed to be loving. You know, because once you have little change, and what these dudes have is basic change. You know, you have change, but you will go and get 5 women.
Yes.
You know, and you don't even have a lot of money. They've not even been to Dubai. These I don't know what these African ancestors did to these chaps, because it's unbelievable. And Sam, I'll tell you one. You know, I actually got a warning like a couple of weeks ago from a well-known man of God because of the things I post. And this is a man who shows up like he's got everything together, but this man has got affairs, you know, and it's unbelievable. He's highly respected, and he says he loves Jesus, he loves God, but he had to try and discredit me for preaching the truth, exactly what you're sharing. That's how crazy it is. These men call themselves, I'm a godly man, but you are defaulting on your vows and the promise you are. That's it. But go on, please. Do your thing.
I'm so happy you weighed in on that, because you see, you know what, the worst thing that you can have as a human being is what I call dissonance. Dissonance is when you are one thing out there, but you're another thing at home. You see,
come on, sir.
And dissonance is when you can't even look at yourself in the mirror, because the person that you see in the mirror bears no resemblance. You are ashamed of that person because you can't face them. I am committed to eliminating dissonance. What I am in my home is what I must be out there. Yeah. Coach, you spoke about relationships. I made that decision because I said to myself, I can't be in a relationship with somebody who cheats on their wife, because that spirit is infectious. For me, it's not for me.
Wow.
I don't care how much money you've got. I don't care how well you're doing. If you're cheating on your wife, you can't be my friend. And that's your individual journey to walk on and do what you're doing. We're all a work in progress. But for me, that's not the kind of people that I can walk with. And the reason for that is because I am committed to making sure that I blow. I love that prayer, Lynette. I love that. Yes.
I love that you sing that.
She's a good woman. She's a good woman. But coach, I said to myself, you see, because a lot of men don't understand the connection between how you are committed to blowing one woman's mind and how God blesses you. I saw that connection.
Woo!
I saw it. I saw that every time I bless my wife, I minister to her, I do the best that I can by her. God says, let me show you what I can do for you. That's where I expect my blessing. And coach, I don't expect to succeed in life and in business because I'm the most intelligent, because I'm educated. I expect to succeed because of the grace of God, because I understand how to obey his dictates and just live it out the best way that I know how. You see, this is the key. So fidelity in marriage for me was a non-negotiable. That I will never give any woman the power to come and laugh at my wife behind her back and be saying, I know more about
That's
your
always
husband.
been what I've always
No,
said.
no,
That's what I've
no,
always said.
you can't.
Wow.
Yes. You see,
That's the most ridiculous thing. When your woman is walking in the street, there shouldn't be any hole out there. Sorry, pardon my French.
yes.
That is saying, I was with your husband last night. I was with your man.
No.
Because that's one way you give honor to your woman. Your
I
wife
mean,
must not walk in the street and women are saying, oh, you are busy out there looking all that fine. But your man, I was with your man, I was doing this thing. And I actually tell people and say, this is why for the rest of my life, I will never do a side chick.
no,
Even if I had too much money to waste,
no.
I will always look for an orphanage. I will always
Yes.
look for the old aged. I'll give an example, PJ. One day I'm driving. I see some women. I see some women when I teach. Some women say, "Oh, you look like you don't want to share your money." And I say, and this is what I do. I was driving one day and I saw some old women walking from, like, these are old women, they've lived their days. They were coming from
Yes.
work and they are walking from town to a nearby compound. And I say, these are the women I stop for and I flash my money on. Than
Got
going
you.
to pick a chick out there. I'm not that horny. Come on. I'm not.
No,
I'm not.
no.
These are women I will honor. Because when I show them love, when I
Yes.
give them out,
Yes.
I mean, there's just something that I'm releasing because I'm seeing their struggle. They're struggling for families. They've got kids, they've got grandchildren, and nobody probably is taking care of them. I will always stop for women like that in the street and bless them
Yes.
than go and
Yes.
stop for every skate that I see in the street.
Absolutely.
That's been my principle. So I
Coach,
am so glad you brought, man, we've even changed it's part of vision.
it's because it's so critical to vision. You see, because when God gives
Yeah.
you a good woman, your responsibility is to spend your days blowing her mind. And God says, if you do that, I'll bless you. I really will bless you. So the code of conduct, because I want to get through those quickly. Number one, fidelity in marriage. Number two, build reserves. You see, when you build reserves, you make sure that you can never go back to that position again, to that place again. You see, where you run out. So you have to build strategically. And especially in the days in which we are living, you have to be committed to buying assets, not toys, not things that don't have value, but things that produce income. So we have to start building reserves so that even when you are not working, when you are asleep, your businesses and your assets are producing wealth. It's so important. And the third one was to maintain control. Because one of the things that had happened was that we were in environments through business and even through ministry where we were not in control of what we were building. You see, so somebody else was in control. And so sometimes when you have a difference of opinion, it then creates a problem because you can't even have differences of opinion because people try and control you and manage you because you are not in charge. And I said, from there on, I must maintain control. So even when we were establishing our businesses, we have a holding company and we never liquidate our holding company. Nobody has shareholding in that holding company except me and Sarah. Till the day Jesus comes, it's us. So these are the things that we had to start building, coach. You see, and it has been a tremendous journey of seeing my family who at one time was so disgruntled, so they were hurting, they were, embarrassed. Like I was saying, the standard of living is not where it needs to be. The food you eat, the clothes you're wearing, the car you're driving, nothing is at the right level. To see how God can infuse you with vision, and you go into a place where right now, that 8-bedroom house that I'm telling you about in England, that's where my son lives by himself. He lives by himself in an 8-bedroom house today. And then when we happen to go to England, that's where we go. But then when we are here in Dubai, we are building new networks. We're now spreading our wings into Africa, because you see, this is the essence of becoming a global citizen. And it is not by might or power, but it is by the grace, by the Spirit of God, by the empowerment of God. But it is us recognizing that God put something big inside of us, which is bigger than we even realize. And we have to live it out. And this is the final point I want you to say, to understand, Coach, to all of the men, the women who are on this platform. For you to become truly great, you have to learn the power of self-mastery. You see, you have to learn the power of self-mastery, because God has given each and every one of us an inalienable right of self-determination. You cannot go out there and try and master people when you have not mastered yourself. You have to learn how to discipline yourself. You have to learn how to discipline you see, every day you are given 24 hours. And in those 24 hours, you have to carve them out and live by design based on those 24 hours. So not every kind of behavior is acceptable. You cannot do whatever you want and think you are going to go where God wants you to go. I was telling somebody the other day, over the weekend, we were at Atlantis, the Palm, the hotel, and with the kids. And we went into one of these ice cream shops, me, Sarah, and the two younger kids. And they ordered ice cream, these big, beautiful looking things of ice cream. And they said, aren't you going to buy ice cream? I said, no, because I have to exercise discipline and self-constraint. You see, I am in my 40s now. I can't eat like I'm a teenager, because that food will affect me negatively, you see. So I have to put a knife to my throat. I have to become proficient in self-control. And that same self-control that I'm exercising with food is the same self-control I will exercise in business, is the same self-control I will exercise in my relationship, so that even if my wife is not here, I'm not running around like a headless chicken trying to find somebody because I have no self-control. So the thing I need you to understand, guys, and this is my final thing, and then Coach, I'm handing over to you. Please understand
There's nothing I can do. Please.
Please understand this.
Wow.
You build a great society one person at a time, and you start with yourself. That's why I said I'm not a fan of activism. For me, I decided I don't cheat on my wife, right? So that is a lesson that I incorporate into my life and then into my children, and I bring comfort in that environment. I can't control what the guy next door does. I'm not in control of that. But what I can do is I can demonstrate through my example and through my life that this woman that I've been married to for 28 years, I am as excited about her today as if I got married to her last week. I am as in love with her today as if the day I met her in 1989 for the first time. I love her more today than I did back then. Because the biggest lie that we are told is that it has to be new. I'm making it new every day, because I've understood the art of investing every day. Are you understanding? So we cannot be bankrupt in our relationships, we cannot be bankrupt in business, and we cannot be bankrupt in life because we refuse to make investments. We must make investments. Make investments in becoming the best you that you can become. And Coach, I'm not sitting on my laurels. Right now, I'm in the midst of a 3-month course on business with Imperial Business School in London. And then when I finish in January, I'm doing another doctorate that starts in January of 2022, and it will finish in January 2025. Because
how many are you?
That will be the 7th one, and then I'm finished. But we are committed to continuous development, continuous learning, continuous growing. We must build the kind of things that long after we are gone, people will talk about them. And we've only just started. So, Coach, I will leave it there. But thank you so much for allowing me onto this platform. I really hope that the little that I've shared has inspired somebody, encouraged somebody. If they're in that place where they've given up on themselves, they're saying, I don't see God, how I can come out of where I am. Let me tell you something. Just lift up your eyes, grab yourself by the shoulders, say, you know what? There's something big inside of me, and it must be manifested. Not just where I am, but to my entire community, to my entire nation, to the nations of the world. They must know who we are, because we are committed to making serious impact. Thank you, Coach. I'm going to leave it there.
like Mr. Philippa said, this gentleman is loaded. Respect.
Thank you, Brendo. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Wow. And now with what like what do I even have to say? I don't like what your wife has like what the comment your wife has put on the screen that
Mm,
says we are committed to continuous growth, self-development, and being lifelong learners.
mm.
Giving up is not an option.
Not at all. Not at all.
Now, listening to you, this is and like I said when we started, I will come if church started preaching this, I will show up at church every second, every minute. Because what kills us and destroys us is we are taught sowing and reaping, but we are never taught strategy. We are
Correct.
never taught how to manage stuff.
Mm, mm.
And your life is comprehensive. You are growing, you are making investments, you are building, and all of those things. But people don't want to make an investment. I'm seated here. Can you imagine? We've shared and downloaded all this. This, Peter, if every one of us picked the wisdom that you just shared with us today, it can transform your life. It changes your life. And this right here is for free. We're not asking for a seed offering. We're not
No,
asking for you to drop anything.
no,
We're not asking for anything. We're
no,
not going to manipulate you
no,
by saying, if you want this grace on my life to manifest, it's up to you. Freely we have received, freely we've given.
absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
cannot thank you enough for just dropping this investment. At some point I was saying, come on, this is a full course that you're just giving right here for free. Come on,
Wonderful.
I want you to just drop some. It's late for them in Dubai right now, but your beautiful wife is here. You are out here. Come on, show. And you don't know. Let me tell you. Let me tell on myself. If there are people that I abuse, your wife has been here since from the time she's been here. You guys
Yes.
have always been there. You've always showed up for Zambia with a passion. You have always invested without asking for anything. Now, without like I will always say this because I want to express how grateful I am, because you and your wife have just been a blessing in my life. I have called you on gunpoint, and just to bless these people. I love Zambians, the people that sometimes I wake up and insult me.
Yeah.
I always like I will come and say, please come speak to these people. And anybody that has been in our space will testify we never demand for anything.
No.
We never, because there's never a day you've ever asked me for anything. And that's the more reason why I always tell my team that the people that ask you for nothing are the people that you should give the most. I've actually told my team and said, look, and now they've heard you, they know. It's business class. If we want these people to come, we have to step up our game. We have to, they are not asking for anything, but we need to learn to honor people that give us all this stuff. You've taken your hours away just to make this investment, to make this deposit, and just add value. And I want to say thank you so much. For like for downloading. I don't know. Like you caught me unaware with this session. Honestly, I thought I knew what was coming.
Okay.
you know and this is one thing. I don't show up for anybody. If there's one person here, I will be the one person to learn. I'll be the one person to be able to take this wisdom to grow and to enhance my life and to become better. So I really appreciate you guys, and I really love you with my life. For always downloading, for always sharing. Come on, guys, drop some comments and just appreciate these people. They want to see all those comments. Uh, you know, uh, you know, oh, come on, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all of those things. So come on, guys, say a better thank you. Say a better thank you. we do it better because I don't want to be entitled. I don't want to be entitled. And this is also one thing you always hear me teach, that you need to get in the right circles. You need to get in the right circles. Find people that will challenge you. And when you get in these circles, it's not your role to start hating on people that are doing better than you. Your job is, how can I be a student? How can I learn? How can I, sometimes people are competing with people they should be learning from. People you want to compete with people that are, I should be inspiring. You want to start competing with people you should be taking notes from. you know
That's right.
2022 is ahead of us. We don't know what is coming ahead, but we are planning ahead. You need to work on your networks. You need to work on your associations,
Yes,
man, because and I kept what you were teaching is a life of discipline, which most people don't have. Maybe that's one thing I'm going to ask. How do people build a life of discipline and stay consistent in all the seasons without losing who they are? How do people just, like, maybe, because I think that's where a lot of people are losing it.
Coach, I would just say that on this point, for most people, they want to live lives of inspiration and not lives of discipline.
Come on.
The problem with inspiration can come and it can go, but discipline is what you do every day, regardless of whether you feel inspired or not. You see, for me, my wife will tell you, I do the same things every single day, every day. I wake up in the morning, I take my multivitamins. I wake up in the morning, I pray, I exercise. I wake up in the morning, I read the Bible, I read my books because I'm committed to reading other books and learning what's going on out there. I do the same things over and over again. And that's what happens. You see, when you wait for inspiration, you may be waiting a long time. You might be inspired once a month, but when you're disciplined, it's what you do every single day. You see, so whether I feel like doing it or not, it doesn't really matter. I've taken the choice out of it. It has to be done. It's the same thing. And so when you are looking to build a great life, you start with just one discipline. And then you add to it another one and another one and another one. And before you know it, you've got 4 or 5 disciplines that are working in your life. And by the time you look at the end of the year, you've built so much because you're just doing the same things over and over again. Do you see what I mean? So I encourage you. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed and you're saying, man, there's so many things that I need to fix. Just start with one. And then start eliminating the negatives in another area. So like I was saying, if it's reading, just say, I'm committed to reading. I must read for at least 15 minutes a day. And then 15 minutes becomes 30 minutes. And then 30 minutes becomes an hour. And then now once you've started doing it, you don't want to stop. You see, I'm a big believer in also doing my affirmations. I even wrote a book called Prayer Declarations. I read my own books and I do my own prayer declarations every day. I do one a day because I understand that there's a power of life and death in my tongue. So how can I not speak? I must speak the things that I want to see and I must create, you see. So it's a simple thing because that's the place that trips up so many people. They don't understand that disciplines are the game changer. Discipline is the difference. Talent is not enough. There are too many talented people out there. Too many talented people. But a person who is disciplined, I'm telling you, a person who is disciplined will run rings around a talented person who is not disciplined. That's the truth.
Wow.
So we must be disciplined and we must learn. And it's a journey, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes and the better that you become. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, somebody says I've looked him up and I've sent him a friend request. I'm inspired. Yes. I have some great women out here. Faith, Lauren, you ladies, this is for you. This is for you, and I know it's for everybody, but you guys, what is ahead of you. So it's a blessing, and there's too many comments that I can put on the screen. Oh God, there's too many that I can put out here. Miss Charity, you gotta go and watch. You have to start this afresh. Tag people, share. send to as many people as possible. Send to as many people as possible. Gosh, this is this yes, this is amazing. This is really amazing. And I know, and I know the last one we're going to talk about is, I think I saw Faith put something like this. um when a man and a woman work together like this, it's dynamite, and you are just that. How have you created this power for the two of you to create this success? Because you are in sync with your wife. It's like you're doing one. It's like one whole vibe with your wife.
Coach, as I said at the very beginning, first of all, I remember when I met this woman, I loved her from day one. And I just felt that it was one thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that I could give her the best life possible. And how you do that is you give the best of yourself. I didn't want to have a divided heart, because I understood as well that when God gives you a woman, he gives you a helper, a helpmate, somebody who's suitable help. The reality is a woman cannot help you to build if she doesn't know what you're building. That's why it was so frustrating for my wife when I told you in 2013, 2014, or 2015, when she said to me, she said, what exactly is the vision? Because she's equipped to help me to build, but if I don't know what I'm trying to build, then she can't help me. So when I understood that my wife was my partner in all things, that she wasn't inferior to me, she's the weaker vessel physically, but she's not weaker mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And in fact, when you look at it, remember the scriptures tell us that the Holy Spirit is our helper. You cannot help people unless you are more powerful than them. So when I look at my wife and I'm taking help from her, I'm not saying she's weaker than me, because she helps me, you see. So I respect what she brings to the table. I value her. I want to see her do well. And I will never promote any woman above my wife. So the one thing that we learned early on in our journey is that nobody comes between me and that woman. Not a pastor, not a friend, not a business associate, not our children, not a parent. Nobody. We are Team Garande. You see. And we approach every challenge together. We have disagreements. We have things that we don't agree on, but she is my friend, you see. And one thing that I've learned about friends is that you want to hang around with your friends. When your friends make you happy, you want to spend time with them. So I enjoy spending time with her. I enjoy learning with her. I enjoy growing with her. And these are some of the things that have made this journey of marriage so much fun. And I believe that's why God is blessing this union the way that he's doing, because we're not perfect people, but we are committed to him and we are committed to one another. And we are committed to demonstrating to our generation that, no, I know you've heard a lot of things about what marriage should be like, but this is what marriage looks like. When a man and a woman come together, they are one flesh, they are of one mind, and nothing shall be withheld from them when they're united. So it's a wonderful journey. And I'd encourage you guys, if you're in relationships, stop looking at your relationship like it's a chore. Make the investment. You see, like I said, I invest in my wife like I married her yesterday. I buy her flowers. I spend a lot of money on flowers, a lot. I'm always trying to find ways of being a blessing to her. And she does the same for me. And I love her with all of my heart. And that will never change. So, it's a wonderful journey. It's a wonderful journey. And that's what we want to pass on to our children as well, so that they can see marriage is supposed to be enjoyed, not enjoyed. You're not supposed to be, my wife, now I have to go and spend time with my wife. No, there's not a day that passes where I'm not on my phone with my wife for at least an hour a day, minimum. Sometimes 2-3 hours. We'll just be talking. Because we love spending time together.
And yet you live together.
We live together. We live together. You see,
a lot of men will say, but I stay with you. Why should I be talking to you on the phone?
No. We must enjoy it. It's a blessing. I'm seeing so much of God's grace because we are committed. That's what I'm saying. People think that when you make money in business, they think that it is because of the fact that you're a great businessman. No, I don't even think I'm the greatest businessman ever. I just know how to obey instructions, and I'm learning more and more how to do that. When God says, this is what you must do, I say, yes, sir. You see, love
Yeah.
your wife, yes, sir. As Christ loved the church, yes, sir. Then I do that, and then God says, "Let me show you the blessing." So it's not intelligence, it's not education. These are things we do because we can. You see, but the most important thing is we must be people of integrity. My wife, I'm talking like this. She's on here. If I was a liar, I would want her to come on here and tell you he's lying. He's not doing any of these things. I wouldn't be confident to do this, you see, if I wasn't trying my best to be integrous. And that's why integrity and authenticity, those are two words that in Africa we need to learn. You know, our reputation is not as important as who we really are. It's not as important. I'm telling you the truth, because there are many people with
Yeah.
many big reputations, but that's not the most important thing. So we got to make sure that we are what we say we are, and let's blow those women's minds, men and ladies. Do your best to be a blessing to that man that God has given you. Honor him, respect him. Because if you honor your man, if you respect him, you'll be amazed at what will come out of him. When you affirm him, when he's going through difficult times, instead of telling him, "How come you don't make as much money as your brother?" No, that's
Yeah.
not the kind of language. Build him
Yeah.
up. Tell him you're the best man that I don't want anybody else. You are the best. You'll be amazed at what he will produce. It's
Wow.
serious stuff. It's serious stuff.
Man, I am definitely looking forward. I've gotten, I think, 4 topics out of this, when
Excellent.
the time is right. But I spoke to my awesome one, your wife. We spoke,
Mhm.
I think, on her birthday, and we're planning quite a lot of things. And if
Yes,
some of
yes.
you are not registering part of our coaching we're doing, we're planning quite a great stuff, you have to start thinking, and I know sometimes when you've lived in a certain space, for a long time, you kind of feel like, I don't think I can make it to this type of life, but God says, as far as you can see, I will give to you. So
Mm.
whatever you're seeing, whatever you're believing, so if you want to be part of those private sessions that we're doing, the coaching program, making the investment in the pandemic, you like, I mean, like how do you even jump, like how do you do 2 masters, like in 18 months, like that's amazing, and that's a season when many people are having excuses, and you're able to cross over that. So this is powerful. The word has been given for you, to you, so it's for you. Run with it, build with it. And I want to say thank you again, over and over. I want to say thank you.
You're
I
welcome,
actually
Coach.
need to, like somebody says, they need to rewatch this. I need to rewatch this with a pen,
Mhm.
but first I need to sit and let it sink in, like, let it just like sink in, like all this wisdom that has just been downloaded, this evening. I want to say thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to our next session. Definitely, we're doing, a session, whether it's in the private coaching program, but we're definitely doing something. And to all the
Wonderful.
men that are out here, you know what it's like now to be that visionary man. It's up to you, to jump out and make things happen, so it's on you, it's on you. And if you have any questions, feel free to send us questions, suggestions that you have, something you'd want us to deal with and work around. Make sure you give it to us, and then we can be able to bring it. So guys, thank you so much. God bless you. Your last word, PJ, as we go.
No, Coach, I always like to just appreciate you and commend you
Yeah.
for the work that you do. One thing about you that I love so much is consistency.
Thank you.
You do the
Thank
same things over and over again. You are faithful to your assignment, and the
thank you.
scripture says, "The faithful man will abound with the blessing." It's a
Mm,
faithful man is very, very hard to find, but the blessing is so obvious upon your life. And I really just want to
amen.
appreciate you in front of your constituency and everybody who's on this platform. Thank you so much for being consistent. Thank you for always, I always know what you're going to be doing because you are always doing the things that you are called to do. And that is a rare thing. That is a rare
Wow,
thing.
thank
So
you.
do not take
No.
it for granted. God's grace is upon you. And I pray
Amen.
that, even as we look at the nation of Zambia, may that nation open its doors even more to you. And may you
Amen.
experience tremendous favor in this new year. 2022 is a year where you must manifest like never before.
Amen.
Where you
Amen.
must move and take quantum leaps in your faith, and
Mm.
be prepared to push against doors and barge through doors where they said you
Yeah.
can't go. It's the year
Mm.
when you must change your location. You know, in the United Kingdom,
Amen.
we always say you must change your postcode. In Zambia, you must go into those locations and those houses that they said don't belong to you. That's where you must find yourself.
Yes.
You must take ownership of businesses at the right level. You must take ownership of relationships at the right level, because you have the ability to affect not just national events, but international events. I
Amen.
really believe that the grace of God is available. And when the grace of God is available, you must step into that grace and you must walk. Sarah told me this a few years ago, that God showed her a vision, and he said to her, she saw a vision of a river, a very fast river. And God said to her, jump in my river and flow at my pace.
Mm.
And that is the word that I want to give you today. Do not be afraid of the speed, because God is the master of doing things on a dime. Just like that. 1 minute you are here, the next minute you're there. That's what God specializes in doing. And he loves to cooperate with people who have that mindset. And I know you do. I know you do, because I've known you long enough to know what you carry. So my faith is
Mm.
that in 2022, it will be an unprecedented year where you will go. You know, the Bible says it like this, and this is what I want to leave with you. The Bible says, when then you will delight yourself in the Lord, and he will cause you to ride on the high places of the earth.
Mm.
And that is my faith for you in 2022, my friend, that 2022 will mark a tremendous renaissance in your fortunes, but you will go to a
Mm.
whole new level. Somewhere that even when you are there, you'll be like David on the throne of Israel, where you look up, you open your eyes and say, I can't believe that I'm the king, even though you've been king.
Mm.
There's things
Mm.
that God will do for you that will cause your jaw to drop with wonder. And that is what I see for you in
Amen.
2022. So God bless you. Thank you so much again, Coach, for being
Amen.
consistent.
Thank you so much.
May God bless you.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. This has been amazing. I received that word and I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward. So, everybody, God bless you. Thank you so much. PJ, please take some time to rest.
You will, yes,
you are ahead,
absolutely.
you are ahead of us. Thank you so much. Have a
You're welcome.
beautiful, beautiful evening.
You too, Coach. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Awesome.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.